Okay, so I'm going through this series of all the mistakes I made in 2024 and 2025, but I spoke yesterday about partnering up, and I really want to talk more about partnerships because I think a lot of people don't really understand what it means and what should be done and what shouldn't be done. It's probably going to be a longer video than most. So first, my experiences. When I started this business, I had a partner, and I don't have any horror stories, right? There's a lot of horror partnership stories. People, my partner stole $10 million from me, that kind of thing. That never happened to me. I had a partner who was real skill and he was great at it, was raising money. And he raised millions of dollars and it got the business started. What happened over time is that we needed less money and he didn't really have something to do. And I was closing deals and doing all the work and giving him half the money. So after a time, I just said, we can't do it. I can't do it anymore. And we went our separate ways and he was better off and I was better off. What happened in 2024 is that it wasn't so as formal, but somebody came in and was sort of handling certain parts of the business. And again, nobody did anything wrong. Both of these people are fine people, but it messed up my focus, and I wasn't really focused on doing what I should be doing. And in the back of my mind, mostly subconsciously, I felt like things were going to get taken care of, and they weren't. So let's talk about partnerships. So first of all, understand that. So my mentor and my coach, Tom Kroll, has a great rule. One of his rules of business is never partner up for something that you can pay for. And I think that's a very, very good rule. So I've seen, right, I've been part of a national mastermind for 7 years. I've seen so many partnerships, both 50-50 and three people, so 33 and a third percent, break up over time. And sometimes it's bad and sometimes it's not bad. But what happens almost inevitably is that when you partner with someone, at some point, both sides feel they're not doing 50% of the work, right? 50-50 partnerships are the number one type of partnership to break up. They almost never work. It's almost impossible that people who are working together in a 50-50 partnership are going to both believe that they're contributing and both sides are contributing. Now, I've seen a few exceptions, but it's very hard. And what I've seen people do is partner for things ridiculously. So I once had a group, so two women came to my RIA meeting, and they said, we're starting a real estate investment business, and we have a third partner. And they were explaining, one's going to do this, one's going to do that. And I'm like, what is the third partner going to do? I'm like, he's an accountant, and he's going to do our books. I said a couple of things. First of all, you don't have any deals, so you don't have any books. You're literally giving a third of the business to somebody to do nothing for a while. But most importantly is you can pay somebody $100 a month to do your books. You're going to give a third of the business to somebody? And things like that I see all the time, just bad decisions for partnering up. I think it comes a lot from the people feeling like we're not enough and we can't do it ourselves. And this guy has money, he's more established, he gives us some credibility. It's almost always a mistake. So the only way that a partnership works, and I'm going to say this even though I still encourage you never to partner up, is if both sides, and there are two guys I know, really good guys in California, who their partnership works. Now, I define the business, the real estate investment business, in three parts. There's lead generation and lead management. There is sales conversion, so getting those leads into contracts, and then there's disposition. Now, disposition can be a lot of different things, right? That can be if you're fixing and flipping 100 houses, somebody's got to manage the construction, finding buyers. There can be a lot, but that's how I sort of view the business in three parts. The only way a partnership can work, and again, I say this, I'm going to say after, still don't do it, is if, let's say, two people want to go into partnership and they each have complementary skill set and complementary desires. That means that one of them is really good at one part of the business and wants to do that, and the other one is really good at another part of the business and wants to do that. So these guys, one of them is really good at sitting on a computer, getting data, getting leads. The other one is really good sitting belly to belly with sellers and converting them, right? And then they outsource this position. But even if you have that skill set, and I guarantee you that some people are watching this and saying, well, yeah, my friend is good at this and I'm good at that. It doesn't mean it's going to stay the same. So I'm going to give you an example. So I'm really good at dispositions, but I don't like doing dispositions. So I have somebody who does dispositions for me. And you may be in a position right now where you think that you're great at sitting at a kitchen table with a seller, but at some point you may change your mind. So when the concept of partnerships, it almost always ends up not working out eventually. And I encourage people when they're starting, don't partner, right? You're going to have to do everything yourself. Now that sucks in the beginning, but and in theory, right, you could outsource every part of the business, right? You could hire someone to get leads for you. You can hire somebody to be a sales, an acquisition manager. You can hire someone to be a lead manager. You can hire somebody to do dispositions. You can. But if you don't do it yourself, you're never going to really know if they're doing a good job. And I tell people that even for something simple like cold calling, right? People say, I want to hire a cold caller. I'm not good on the phone. I'm like, you still have to do it for a month or two yourself, so that when you listen to their calls, you'll know if they're good or not. So it's much better to start the business yourself and then to pay people for the parts of the business that you either are not doing or that you hate doing. Right. So I talk about this disposition. So I was doing dispositions, and it was our second deal. It was a property in Valley Stream, and I was at my kid's birthday party. Right. My kids were little then, and someone called me and said, I want to see this house right now, and I don't have an agent. Right. And I would, so this is the second deal I sold, I think. And I thought about it, and I'm like, I think we were selling it for $400,000 at the time. And, if I could save 2% to a buyer's agent, that was $8,000. And I left my kid's birthday party. I went to this house. And I had a whole system that I used to do. I used to literally put drops of vanilla onto the incandescent bulbs to make the property smell good. And I would turn all the lights, and I would set it up. And I think we staged it, and I was sitting there. And I'm sitting, and I'm waiting, and I'm feeling guilty for missing the back end of my kid's birthday party. And they never showed up. I called them, and I'm like, oh, yeah, we changed our mind. And in that position, I said, at that moment is when I said, like, I can't do this. I'm just not doing it anymore. It's not worth it, right? Because I think I'm good at dispositions, but I can't stand listening to buyers tell me why my property is worth less. I can't stand having buyers stand me up. I just can't stand it, right? And that's something I learned over time. So in the beginning, but you have to learn these things, right? What you like, what you don't like, what you're good at, what you're not good at. And the best way to do that is by yourself. So even if you think that you have someone who's a great partner, who you trust, and they have a skill set that you don't, and you like doing the part that you're thinking you're doing, and they like the part that they think they're doing, you're still better off starting your own. And I remember when I was breaking up with my partner, it was a very stressful time. It was right before COVID, and we had like 17 properties that were in contract. It was a problem. And I spoke to a great guy named Ryan Robeson. He's an amazing guy. And he's like, I promise you're going to look back and say this was the right thing to do. And it's going to be better for both of you, not just you, but him. And he was right. So I would avoid partnering up at almost all costs. Now, the only exception I would make is if somebody's bringing money to the table and you're going to give them some equity. It's much better to have somebody give you money and just give them debt, so that you give them an interest rate, and they get that money back when a property sells. But when we started, we gave them equity, so people actually had a percentage of the profits. It was not great, but it was what got us started. So if somebody has a lot of money and they're willing to lend it to you, and they will not budge, and they say, I need equity, or I need a percentage of the profits, I would say that you can sort of partner up. But they're not really involved operationally at all. It's just a money situation. That can work. But it's much better to just have them lend it to you, and you pay them a set rate of return. Maybe you give them a bonus, if the property does well, or that kind of thing. But that's sort of an exception. I would say that's not really partnering. That's more, just a money partner, right? I mean, because in general, a lot of the deals, multifamily deals, are done with limited partners that lend the money and general partners that run the deal. But to partner up in a business and give up 50% equity, 33% equity, 25% equity, even 15% equity, on something that may grow is a mistake. So if you're thinking about partnering, I would advise you not to. Happy to take any questions you have if you want to ask me about it, right? People call me and they go, I've had people call me, I have a terrible accent and I can't talk on the phone. And I'm like, a lot of people we buy from have terrible accents too. So don't worry about it. Like, you can do that, or you can work on your accent if you have to, but it's better for you to run all the parts of the business when you start and then figure out what you need to outsource than it is giving up a piece of the business that could grow to something significant. So I would advise strongly against partnering up. Take the advice of Tom Kroll. Never partner up for something that you can pay for. Right now, sometimes there are things that you can't. Like I said, money, right? If you need capital, if you're buying big properties and closing on them. But sort of that, I would avoid partnering up really at all costs. They almost never work out. Almost never. Again, in 7 years, I've probably seen 100 partnerships dissolve, and I think I've seen 2 that lasted the test of time. It's very, very, very rare. So please, if you like this is sort of a move out of the series, but I think it was important to talk to. Maybe I'll have a couple more of those during the series. If you like these, please like, comment, share. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. Thank you very, very much for watching.